Hi, it's Luther here. I'm in the Explanar Swing studio in Milton Keynes, a bit north of London. And I'm just browsing through my favourite book, Ben Hogan's Modern Fundamentals of Golf, or Ben Hogan 5 Lessons. He had help with the journalist Herb Warren-Wind to do the words, and probably for me, as importantly, he had the great illustrator Anthony Ravielli. So this is my favourite book on the golf swing. You can't go to any teaching conference even now and not discuss Hogan at some point. So if this is my favourite book, then page 78 is my favourite page, because we have this incredibly famous and universally revered image of Mr. Hogan standing with a driver and a great sheet of glass resting on the ball to target line and onto his shoulders. There's a hole for his head. And that is Mr. Hogan's concept of the swing plane. And for me, it's exciting because nothing's changed. He had it absolutely right. The shaft plane coming out through his hip socket and out here is way below the pane of glass. So we can safely say that the plane of the shaft has nothing to do with the swing plane itself. Personally, in teaching, I only mention shaft plane if the pupil wants to hit it with the shaft. Most of my pupils want to use the club head. So when the club head moves around Mr. Hogan's body, it does it in the plane of the sheet of glass, more or less. What fascinates me, on the next page, Mr. Hogan goes to the trouble of two further small drawings. Now, he's just given us the sheet of glass resting on the ball target line onto his shoulders. That's where it's resting. If you go to this drawing and notice very carefully, the dotted line is no longer on the shoulders. The dotted line goes through the upper sternum. So I think Mr. Hogan had it absolutely bang on. The swing plane runs from the ball at address through the upper sternum and onwards to infinity. That is broadly the swing plane. It can't be the shaft plane. The plane of movement of the hips or the shoulders, those again are ancillary, that they're separate. They're not actually a plane of themselves, they're just a movement around a plane. So that dotted line, okay, it's not as famous as the sheet of glass, but in understanding the swing plane, it's actually even more important. And in the text, Mr. Hogan goes to the trouble of a strapline going, the backswing plane runs from the ball through the shoulders. Well, through is the upper sternum. If it wasn't through the upper sternum, it'd be on top of the shoulders of the pane of glass. Now, that's only 4 or 5 inches, but golf is a game of inches, and if Mr. Hogan goes to the trouble of saying the swing plane actually goes through the upper sternum, I think that's one that we need to remember. It's been a great inspiration to me, the drawings of Ravielli and the work of Mr. Hogan. He's revered even now as a major contributor to understanding the golf swing in the modern era. And I wish I had more video of him shots, and it would be even better if I could ask him a question. But the best we have is the book, written towards the end of his career with a great writer, Herb Warren-Wind, and a great illustrator, Anthony Ravielli. So if you've not read it, it's required reading. I hope you enjoy it.